How's it going, guys? I'm here with Chapter 25 of Book 1 of the Royal Ranger series, titled A New Beginning, and let's go ahead and get into it. Somehow, Maddie got through the rest of that grueling day. She showered again in the wash house. This time, she had time to light the little stove so that the water was hot when it cascaded down on her. She gasped and spluttered as she tipped the bucket to send water gushing over her, but the hot water on the back of her neck helped dispel that dreadful pounding headache. By the time she toweled off and dressed in fresh clothes, it was only a dull remainder of its former self. Will watched her as she walked down from the wash house. He felt that perhaps she had learned her lesson. Hangovers had a way of teaching people that drinking alcohol was not a good idea. After working her so hard in the morning with the log splitting and the obstacle course and the archery practice, he relented somewhat and gave her an easier afternoon. He set her to the task of doing their laundry. She had gone through 2 changes of clothes that day, and her discarded garments were stained with sweat and worse. She also had to repair the rip in the knee of her tights and wash away the dried blood there. Then he introduced her to the Courier's Code, based on a grid of letters, and set her several exercises to do. The figures on the page blurred in and out of focus a little, and the headache surged again as she concentrated on them. But all in all, it was preferable to the violent exertions of the morning. Maddie finished a set of code exercises and handed them to him. He went through them quickly, made a few corrections, then grunted. She was a little disappointed. Normally when she did well on an assignment, and she felt she had done well on this one, he would mutter a few words of praise. But not today. I've lost his trust, she thought miserably, and she wondered if they would ever attain the level of warmth that had been beginning to develop between them. Probably not, she thought glumly. They had one bout of contention that afternoon. The sun had sunk below the trees, and Maddie lit the 3 oil lamps that provided light to the cabin. As she adjusted the wick on the final one, Will spoke. "There's one thing," he said. "I want the names of your companions last night." She looked up fearfully. His face was grim and determined, but she couldn't comply with his order. I can't do that," she said. "I don't care if you punish me, but I won't betray my friends." He studied her grimly for several seconds. Then he nodded slowly. "Well, I applaud your loyalty to your friends, if not your wisdom," he said. "But I assume it wasn't you who procured that cask of wine last night?" She shook her head. She felt she could go that far without betraying the others, but she wasn't going to tell him who had brought the cask to the party. "Whoever did should be punished," he said, and she shook her head once more. "I'm not going to tattle on them," she said. He said grimly. In truth, he didn't need her to tell him the names. It would take him less than half an hour to find them. The faces of the 3 were imprinted on his memory. He would know them when he saw them, and he would report them to their parents. They needed to be disciplined, just as Maddie had been. But he was pleased that she hadn't tried to curry favor with him by informing on them. The loyalty might be misguided, but her refusal to showed a strength of character. "You have to realize, Maddie, that as Rangers, we need to maintain a certain sense of aloofness from people." She cocked her head. "Aloofness?" she queried. "There's a mystique about the Rangers," he told her, "and we need to maintain it. You need the respect of those around you. It's fine to have friends, but let's say, one day, you need to discipline one of those kids who was with you last night, or order them to do something. You need them to think of you as Maddie, the Ranger, and obey you immediately, without thinking. They can't see you as Maddie, the silly girl who fell down drunk with them one night." She considered this. "You're saying I can't have friends?" He started to say no, then reconsidered. "In a way, yes, I am. You can be friendly with them, but you can't let them become too familiar with you. It's one of the sacrifices we make as Rangers. Our friends tend to be other Rangers." "But my mother and father are your friends," she pointed out, and he nodded, accepting the point. "Our friendship was forged through a lot of dangerous times. We had to depend on each other and trust each other. My life was often in your father's hands. And your mother's," he added. "That's a better basis for friendship than sneaking around drinking stolen wine behind the stables." "I suppose so," she said. She could see his point. She enjoyed the prestige and respect she had earned as a ranger's apprentice. She had seen how people looked up to her, and she could see how a silly escapade like the night before could destroy that respect. "It's time to grow up, Maddie," he said. "I suppose it is," she replied. She went to bed early that evening, shortly after they had finished a simple meal of grilled beef strips and boiled, buttered potatoes. Will also prepared a salad of some bitter green leaves, lacing it with a light, astringent dressing. It was all simple, nourishing food, calculated to drive away the last remnants of her terrible hangover. As she finished and took her platter to the kitchen basin, Will gestured to the coffee pot. "Like a cup?" he asked. She hesitated, then remembered the wonderful sense of relief that she had felt from that milky, sweet coffee earlier in the day. "Why not?" she said. He turned away to hide a slight smile as he poured a cup for her, then added milk and honey. She drained the cup, marveling at the way the liquid eased the last remaining vestiges of her headache. Then she yawned. "I think I'll turn in." He nodded. He had twisted his chair toward the open fire and was staring into the twisting, writhing flames. "Night," he said. She made her way to her room, yawning continuously. Her bed had never felt so welcoming. It was well after midnight when she woke. The moon had slid across from one side of the cabin to the other, its light now slanting through the window in the opposite direction from where it was when she had fallen asleep. She wondered what had woken her. Something had intruded on her sleep, she was sure. She lay still, holding her breath for a few seconds. Then she heard it, the low murmur of voices. She sat up, quietly laying the blankets to one side. One part of her mind registered the fact that the dull headache was finally gone. She looked at the gap under her bedroom door. There was no slit of light showing there. The lamps were obviously out in the living room, although she could make out a dull flicker thrown by the dying coals in the fire. She turned her head and listened keenly. There it was again. Voices. Or, more correctly, one voice, pitched low and almost inaudible. If it hadn't been for the silence of the early morning, she might never have heard it. She rose and made her way to the door, easing it open. The hinges were well greased and made no sound. Rangers liked it that way. She smiled at how quietly she could move now. After months of training with Will, she had learned to step lightly, avoiding obstacles, and learning where the floorboards that might give off a warning creak were to be found. She stepped silently into the living room, then frowned, as she saw that the front door to the cabin was open. That was unusual. Will always made sure the door was locked from the inside when he retired for the night. Moving back into her bedroom, she reached to where her scabbard hung from a peg and silently drew her sacks from it. Then she made her way to the front door, avoiding the 3 loose floorboards that were set to creak create a loud screech of wood on wood and warn of any intruder. The murmuring voice could be heard more clearly now. It seemed to be coming from the end of the porch, the spot Sable usually occupied. Maddie glanced cautiously around the open door, ready to recoil instantly if anyone was looking in her direction, careful not to touch the door itself. The bottom of the door dragged along the floorboards of the cabin. Originally, she had thought of this as sloppy workmanship, until Will explained that it was another alarm device in case someone tried to enter. Unlike the interior doors, this one was designed to be noisy. To open the door silently, one had to lift on its hinges, which was obviously what Will had done. She could see him sitting, with his back to her, on the edge of the porch. Sable was sitting beside him, leaning her warm body against his, her tail moving in slow sweeps on the porch floorboards, as Will talked to her, pouring out his troubles. "I miss her so much, girl. I wake up in the morning and think she'll be there, or walk into her room and expect to see her. Then I remember that she's gone and my heart wants to break, all over again." He's talking about Alice, Maddie realized. Suddenly, she felt like an intruder, listening in to Will's private thoughts. She wanted to turn away and creep back to bed, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Curiosity got the better of her. "She was everything to me, girl. Everything." Sable's tail swirled in a sympathetic thump against the boards. Will put his arms around her, pulling her closer to him, burying his face in the thick fur of her ruff. "Oh, how I miss her. It's like there's a huge hole in my life. But I can't cry for her. I've never cried for her, and that hurts so much. Why can't I cry, Sable?" Again, Sable twitched her heavy tail in understanding. Will fell silent for a minute or so. "Pauline says the pain will gradually grow less. It'll be easier to bear. But when will that happen? It seems to be just as fresh, just as deep, every day that passes." Maddie, embarrassed by her eavesdropping, turned away, but Will's next words stopped her. "Thank heavens for Maddie. At least she gives me something to take my mind away from the pain and the grief. She's the one bright spot in my life." "Me?" she thought. "I'm a bright spot in his life?" If she gets past this current nonsense and settles down, she could be an excellent ranger. She's smart, she thinks fast, and she's an excellent shot already, particularly with that sling of hers. She could open the way for a whole lot of girls to follow her into the Corps. It's a shame I've only got her for 1 year." Maddie shook her head in wonder. She had no idea that Will thought so highly of her. He had certainly given her no sign of it. "Well, it's late, girl. I'm for bed. Thanks for listening." Maddie heard the heavy thump of Sable's tail on the boards once more. Then she heard the scraping sound of Will coming to his feet. Moving silently, she fled across the room to her door. She had it almost closed when she heard Will lifting the front door to re-enter the cabin. Then the soft clack as the latch closed. Faintly she heard the slither thump of Sable sliding her forefeet out before her as she slipped down to a lying position. Maddie waited till Will had crossed to his own room. As he closed the door carefully, she matched his action so that any slight sound of her own door latch engaging would be covered by his. She lay carefully on the bed and pulled the blankets up to her chin. It was a chilly night, and she was cold all over. She shivered once, then relaxed. She lay for a long time with her eyes open, thinking over what she had heard. Eventually she went to sleep, but a firm resolve had formed in her mind. She would make amends for her behavior with the 3 village teenagers. She would never let Will down like that again. And she would regain his trust in her. All right, guys, that's it for Chapter 25. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time in Chapter 26. God bless, and have a good one.